Good afternoon, and you're very welcome to my little, well, I say afternoon. You could be listening to this in the morning or the evening. I don't care. I'm just happy that you're listening to it, and welcome to my home, to my terrace, and on this beautiful afternoon. You might hear in the background somewhere someone using one of those stupid it seems to me it's like a wake-up call nowadays, this horrendous noise of blowers. Is that what they call them? Blowing leaves or blowing whatever. What is the point of them? What is the point of them? Surely a brush and a pan, the leaves, and then put them in a plastic bag and get rid of them. But blowing them into a ditch or into a bush, what good is that? Should they blow back again? I've never seen the likes of it anywhere. Of course, it's all over the world. And they're the most annoying thing, because noise can be very noisy. Noisy? Did I say nosy? Noisy. Anyway, you're very welcome. I'm delighted to join me. I just been watching the Democratic National Convention. I'm sure many of you have been watching it. Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, etc., etc. It seems they're doing very well. But okay, to be honest with you, there's not much on television today except the EastEnders. And the convention, I think, the American politics is like watching a comedy show. I mean, it really is funny. I switch over then to hear what Trump has to say, and that really makes me laugh. I mean, all he is doing is he just selling negativity. Even he doesn't like Kamala's laugh. He makes fun of her laugh, her smile. I think it's very warm and it's very... Now, I'm no fan of Kamala Harris at the moment. I'm keeping my mind, the options open at this time. But I'm just getting a great laugh of it. He calls Obama, what a wonderful speech by Obama. He calls him Barack Hussein Obama. We all know where he's having a dig about there. We all know. And he calls Kamala Harris, he calls her Comrade Harris, making out that she is a communist. Now, I must tell you, I've got to read my papers here. I saw a woman on, was it last night, explaining the exactly meaning of a communist leader. And it goes like that. These are communist leaders. They attack the free press, calling them the enemy of the people, like Ortega in Nicaragua. They put their relatives in cushy jobs in governments so they can get rich like the Castros do in Cuba. They refuse to accept legitimate election results when they lose, and they call for violence to stay in power, like the president of Venezuela right now. Now, they attack free press, they put relatives in cushy jobs, they refuse to accept legitimate election results. Ring a bell? Anyway, Trump comes to mind right there. Okay, it's a comedy show. Why doesn't Trump, when he gets up, talk about what he's going to do in the future, instead of attacking, spending time that's in front of what people are hoping will be the future? I mean, he probably will be elected president of America, but I think he's a bleeding madman. I honestly do. I think he's an absolute madman. And the best thing that could ever happen to America is all of a sudden the Republican Party does what they say what happened to Biden. Okay, now let's just move away from that for a moment. My story today, now it's a very serious story, and I'm telling it because I discussed with some people, some friends of mine today, whether I should tell this story or not, and I thought, well, I will share it with you because it might be a lesson or a wake-up call to someone else. Motorbikes, no, it's not about them. When I came here first, as many of you know, I took over James Hunt's club here. James Hunt was a Formula One racing driver. I'm not going to go into all that. I took it over, and I was very excited about it. Coming from Ireland, Marbella, owning a nightclub here, etc., etc., etc. It was all an exciting time. But it was 1983, an extremely bad time to have done this. And I explain quickly why. Because a cool American guy opened a bar in Port-au-Prince called Joe's Bar. I don't know if many of you remember that. And people stayed in Port-au-Prince drinking and dancing. There was no need to come to the clubs. So I was suffering from the day I opened Oscars. Oscars was named after James Hunt, Alsatian dog. Anyway, one night I came into Oscars and there was, I'm not going to name him, there was a well-known Arab man, a big, well-built, big, fat man. Heavy man, I shouldn't say fat. Heavy man. Sitting there, and he was drinking Johnny Walker Black Label, and he had two girls, or a girl either side, girls of the night. So the manager brought me straight over and introduced me to him, and I was delighted. I had no other clients. I was delighted to meet him. Then he said to me, do you have an office? I said, I do. He said, can I use your office? I said, certainly, Mr. What was his name? So he got up. My office was just behind the bar. He said, come with me. Oh, gee. So I went with him. Now, I want to be very, very honest with you. I was just arrived, a pretty naive Irishman, and I didn't know what he wanted to do with me. I leave that up to some people's imaginations, these stories, and possibly incorrect stories. But he might like boys. I was very young. I really didn't know, but I went with him. And then it got worse when he told me to come in and lock the door, which I did. And in my mind, I'm thinking all the worst things, which were ridiculous, but there you are. He sat down behind my desk, he put his hand in his pocket, and he took out a big plastic bag, or a plastic bag full of white powder. Oh, Jesus Christ, don't tell me they're drugs, I thought. I mean, I didn't even drink at that stage, never had a drink. Yes, I owned clubs in Dublin, but I was a non-drinker. There you are. A pioneer, a non-drinker. And here I am in Marbella, and all those rumours. And then, at that point, a bell rang in my head and reminded me, my uncle Jack, who lived here, when he heard I was coming out to open a club here and live here, he said, within a year, you will become a drinker, alcoholic, and a drug addict within a year. I'm married now when my kids were very young, and I've never even seen a drug, never mind taking a drug. And here I am with this Arab man, and he's taking this white powder out of my desk, which I could only guess was cocaine. And he put a thick line, not a thin line, a thick line of the cocaine. And he took my barrow, big barrow, and he took the centre bit out of the barrow, and he snorted it. I thought, oh my God, this is like a movie. What was it, Scarface? Then he put another thick line. He said, "Now you." No, Mister. Oh, no, thank you. Yes, you, please. And I thought for a minute, maybe it's an insult. And my business, and what can one line do for me? And I, terrified, took the line. Nothing happened. Oh, God, thank God. I don't know what to expect to happen. Then he put another thick line. Thick, these weren't thick line. Again, he snorted. Another thing. No, you. Oh, no, I'm fine, thank you. Nothing had happened. I was fine. So I took another line. And another line, another line, he took another line. So it was 3 lines. So I'm the virgin, and I've never had cocaine before, but I sure the equivalent on this line was so thick, equivalent to about 3 or 4 lines of cocaine. And then he said, here, take some and rub on your teeth. I don't know what he was talking about, but I was following him. Maybe this takes because I wasn't feeling high or anything. And I rubbed some on my teeth. And all of a sudden, I felt my teeth disappear. They're all right, but they felt numb. They were gone. And I felt very happy. I felt extremely happy. In fact, I went out with Mr. I nearly said his name, and I started the dance on the empty dance floor on my own. Now, of course, all the staff knew exactly what was happening. They were well versed in the old drugs. And the way I was happy as hell, couldn't give a damn about my club being empty. And he beckons me over after about half an hour or whatever. And he said, "We go to your office?" I said, yeah, come on, let's go to my office. So that night I got pretty well stoned. I can't even remember driving home, but I do remember I couldn't sleep. And that was it. It was at 6 in the morning. And the next night when I went into the club, I couldn't believe I'd not only seen drugs, but I'd done drugs. And the next night I went into the club, and some Arab started to arrive in mentioning his name. And before I knew it, within days, the word had spread that the boss of the club didn't mind the cocaine. And what's more, they were giving it to me all the time. So I was getting involved. And I'm thinking what my uncle said. And the barman, one of the barmen, poured me a gin and Fanta orange. What did he say to me? He said to me, "That's what Hugh Hefner used to drink. You remember Playboy?" Oh, I drank it. So now I'm getting coked and dizzy, drunk. What the hell's happening to me? And I'm going home and not being able to sleep. Now, no one, certainly Wendy, knew nothing about this. The boys were very, very young. I think Daniel was about 3 at the time. I don't know exactly when. Probably that 3 or 4 years old. And it started to go around. People were coming to the club. The club was starting to do business. Not drug, I wasn't selling drugs, but they were just, "Hello, Morris, come with me. Hello." I thought, God, I'm getting a reputation of being a drug addict or something here. And this kept going on now, and then I would go out and I'd see some of the clients, my new clients. They were spending big money. My new clients, I'd see them out at a party or something. "Oh, Morris, come." And they would give me more of the drug, the cocaine. But there was one problem. There's quite a few problems. First one was sneezing a lot. After a while, my nose did bleed at some time, a little bit. But I couldn't sleep. Now, I heard, excuse the wind just blew me papers, but I don't need them. I heard that you could take some hashish, another drug, and it would calm you and make you sleep. But I didn't want to smoke because I'd probably given up about 8 years smoking. By that point, I wasn't smoking. And someone suggested I get a playing card, you know, a card you play poker or whatever, and you put a pin up the middle of it. You put a bit of hashish on it, whatever it is. You light it, then you put a glass over it so it fills with smoke, and and that's what I was doing. I was doing this every about 4, 5, 6 in the morning. And there wasn't a clue for Wendy and the boys, the kids, didn't know what I was doing. But I was feeling extraordinarily guilty about it. But when you get involved with something like that, you want to be happy at night. So you don't worry about what's happening, you know, whatever. I remember once, it was so empty, it was so free here in Marbella at the time, not now, but at the time. I remember going into a bank, and the bank manager was one of the crowd that used to come to Oscars, and he would come into my office, and he gave me a line of cocaine during the day. Anyway, so this lasted for, I think, 2 or 3 months. And I'm going to tell you how I finished with it. I was in the bathroom in our apartment with the glass and I always had to make sure the windows were open, and I used to use the hairdryer to blow any smell or anything away with the pin and the glass and what have you. And I lit the thing and I'm through the glass to get the hashish into me to relax me so I could sleep. And I heard, "Daddy, Daddy, are you in there?" And I looked in the mirror and I thought, what am I doing? And I heard the words of my Uncle Jack. "Within a year, you'll be a drug addict and a drunk." I've got rid of the glass, the playing card and everything. It was Daniel. You had to bring him to school. And honestly, from that day forth, 37, 8 years ago. That day forth, I never touched another drug. And it was after that, when the Mandy Smith thing happened, and I was traveling into recording studios all over the place and television studios all over Europe, and the norm was offering, cocaine, or they're all smoking hashish or what have you. And I never took another line. It's a mug's game. A mug's game. That's all I can tell you. I was lucky. Many aren't. I hope it doesn't disappoint you, for people who are following me, to think that I was a drug addict. I don't think I was a drug addict, but I could have easily become one. That temptation is a terrible thing. And I hate to have thought what my future would have been if that continued. It stopped, and that was the end of it. That's me being honest.